Welcome friends to Yoga Plus with Tirson. My name is Tirson. So today is a very special class. It is a 15-minute yoga class geared towards runners and cyclists. And this is really meant to be a class done after your ride or after your run. So for our class today, we're going to need a couple of props. The first thing that you want to grab is 2 blocks or something that feels like it's block-like. So books, or I've seen water bottles used, but something of similar height. 2 of those. We're also going to need a foam roller. And then lastly, a yoga blanket or a towel or something that we can roll up and use here in just a little bit. So with all of that, once you get your props, what I want you to do is meet me on your mat, on your back. We'll get started with just a simple breath technique called diaphragmatic breath. One of my favorite breathing techniques to just get you settled and centered into your body. So once you come on to your back, just start to tune in to your natural breath rhythm. You'll notice when you tune in, you naturally start to enhance the breath. We're going to take that a step forward, step further. Finish out the breath that you're on. And through your nose, take a nice deep belly breath. Fill your abdomen with air. And like you're breathing out through a straw, purse your lips and exhale. Again, through your nose, inhale, inflate your belly. And purse your lips, exhale through your mouth. One more inhale. And exhale. Now let your breath find a natural cadence, a natural rhythm. Take your arms, reach above your head, a long body, stretch, open your mouth, even take a big yawn. You might point and flex your feet. That should feel really good in your ankle joints. Pull your knees into your chest. Start to rock and roll forwards and backwards along the length of your spine and eventually rock your way on up to seated. Grab hold of your foam roller. And we're going to get into what's called a shearing technique in the calves and then later into the thighs. So what you want to do is take your legs on to your foam roller, really right in that mid-calf area. Hands can go back behind you, and just with your legs, just kind of shimmy or roll the legs forward, or side to side. This is just a way to kind of warm up the tissue, really getting into the hydration, the superficial layer of your fascia. And after a couple of rounds, you might roll it down a little bit more to that, like right in between your ankle and that upper kind of meatier part of your calf. And that same just kind of side to side, in and out motion. Let your feet relax. If you want a little extra sensation, you can press into your hands and lift your hips. That'll definitely give you some extra sensation. And if your hips are up, go ahead, drop your hips down. We'll roll it down to just right above that Achilles tendon. And then the same thing, that in and out movement. If you want to press into your hands and lift your hips, you can do that as well. I think sometimes we use these and we think we have to really dig in there, but that's not always the case. This is actually just a very gentle way to kind of loosen up, again, that superficial layer of tissue. You don't have to go super deep to the point where you feel sore all the time. All right, after you've done that, go ahead and pull this, or roll, I should say, your foam roller up to about your mid thighs. And we're just going to do that same thing here. Again, hands back behind you. If you want to lift your hips off the ground, you can do that same just kind of in and out motion here. You might be thinking to yourself, I didn't realize that this was yoga. This is warming you up for our practice coming in a moment. You might roll down just a little bit more until you're right above the knee. You want to make sure you're not on the back of the knee, but just really right above it. I really feel that. Oh. And then go ahead and release. We're going to take your foam roller off to the side. We're done with that for now. Come to all fours. Once you come to your tabletop position, just a little bit of movement to warm up the spine. First, stack your shoulders right over your hips, and your shoulders right over your wrists, your hips right over your knees. And we'll do 3 rounds of cat and cow. Drop your belly, inhale, pull your heart forward. Exhale, cat pose, dome and round, push the ground away. Again, inhale, slide your chest forward, a slight gaze up. Exhale, cat. One more, inhale. And exhale. All right, flat neutral spine. Go ahead and grab your blocks. Take your blocks to the right and to the left of your mat at the top. I'm going to encourage that you take them at the tallest setting. However, once we get into our lunge, if you want to bring it down to either the medium or the flat setting, you're more than welcome to do that. Place your hands on your blocks. Step your right foot forward. So right away here, just start to move into this lunge. Let your hips drop, your heart lift. Shift out slightly, head in just a tad deeper. We'll do that one more time. Shift your hips in a tad deeper here. And then allow yourself really just to soften into this lunge. Let your heart open, gaze stoically forward. Option to smile. Let your exhale allow you to release into this just a tiny bit more. Depending upon how tight your hips are, you might really be feeling a stretch on your left hip flexor into the back of your right thigh. And we'll finish out this breath. Go ahead and shift your hips back until your back left hip is over your knee. And then with your front right foot, I'll move my block so you can see, just start to shimmy your foot forward. You don't have to straighten your front knee all the way. It can just keep a slight bend in the knee. If your bend is bigger, that's totally fine as well. But start to straightenish your front leg. Square your hips off and make sure that the entire sole of your front foot is flat on the ground. So what I'm looking for is to feel really a nice long stretch. You might even feel it really into the top of your ankle here. If this feels a bit too intense, then feel free to flex your foot and come out. But if you can stay with your foot flat, please do that as well. If you're feeling any sensitivity in your back knee, you're more than welcome to take your blanket underneath your knee and just give yourself a little extra support or cushioning there. And we're just going to move just a little bit with the breath. So bend your front knee, drop your hips, inhale, open up your hearts. And then exhale, shift your hips back, straighten your front knee-ish. Keep the sole of your foot flat. A few more. Inhale, drop and open. Exhale, up and back. 2 more. And last one. And then come back into your lunge. You might slide your right foot back. So you can take your right hand block off to the side. Take your left hand block either medium or to its flat setting. Tuck your back toes under. Lift your back knee away from the ground. Send your right arm up towards the sky. Start to level out your pelvis. Feel a little bit more length. Take a deep breath in. You'll hear my dogs barking. And now cactus your top arm. Open up your chest. Even start to spin your chest to the sky. And then send your right arm forward. As you do that, send your right hip back, get long, and we'll do it again. Exhale, cactus your arms, spin your chest open. Last one, inhale, arm forward, right hip back. Exhale, cactus and open. Oh, that feels good. All right, come back into your low lunge. Drop your back knee down, back to all fours, and then we'll switch to the other side. Left foot will step forward. Grab your blocks. Place them again at their tall setting. And then, as you drop into your lunge, open up your chest. And again, you might slide out just a tiny amount. Head in just a little bit deeper. Few more rounds just like that. As always, if you're feeling sensitivity in the back knee, use your blanket. And you'll notice I like to keep my back toes tucked under. My back knee feels a little bit more comfortable with my back toes tucked under. I feel like there's a lot more pressure into my back knee with my toes untucked. So if that's you, you might try flexing your foot. Click your toes. Your toe pads, I should say, on the ground. Couple of breaths here just to sink into this supported lunge. Again, open your heart, stoically gaze forward. We'll finish out this breath. Shift your hips back slightly. Again, bring your right hip over your right knee and shimmy your left foot forward until your left knee is straight-ish, if you will, just as needed. And again, keep the sole of your left foot flat. And this might be a really intense stretch, depending upon, how tight all your tissues are. And also, if you just came off of your practice, your run, your cycle, your muscles and your fascia might be really kind of tight right now. So this could be really intense. And if that's for you, go ahead, just keep a soft bend in your knee. An even bigger bend. And we'll start to move a little bit. So again, inhale into your lunge, open up your hearts. Exhale, straighten your front leg, a little bow forward, keep the sole of your foot flat. Again, inhale, slide forward, open up. Exhale. One more, inhale. And exhale. All right, we'll slide it back into the lunge. You might slide your left foot back. Again, take your right block down to its flat or medium setting. You can place your left block off to the side. Tuck your back toes under, lift your back knee up. Send your left arm up to the sky here. A low lunge twist with the support of the block. Level out your pelvis. Feel your hips square forward. And then lift your left hand up, take a breath, and we'll cactus and spin the heart up towards the sky. And listen close. Send your left arm forward, your left hip back. You might even straighten out your left knee a tiny amount, lengthen. Exhale, cactus, pull it back, open up your heart. We'll do that one more time. Inhale, left top arm forward as you draw your left hip back slightly. Exhale, cactus, and open. Nice. Drop your left hand to the ground. Drop your back knee to the ground. Again, come back to all fours. We're going to do a pose called broken toe pose. So you might need to bring your blocks with you. There's a couple of options in this posture. You want to make sure your back toes are tucked under. Shift your hips back, sit on your heels. And if you're feeling a lot of intensity, you can always keep your hands a little lean forward, hands on your blocks. You might be able to walk them back. If you can sit back onto your heels, this is a great place to be. Just about 30 seconds here. I remember the first couple of times I did this, I would really feel this in my abdomen. It was almost like a sense of nausea. And I later learned it's kind of these meridian or these marma points in your feet that are connected to your abdomen. You're like, wow, I feel that. I don't know if that's you. If at any point it becomes too intense, back out slightly. Just about 3 more seconds here. And then go ahead, lean forward, bring your hands onto the ground, untuck your toes, go ahead and tap the top of your feet onto the ground. All right. And then bring your feet together. Take your knees just a smidge wider and then sit your hips back onto your heels. And if this feels really intense to you, you can always take a block and sit on your block. You've got 2 blocks. So if you want to go keep them flat and sit on them, go for it. So stage 1 right here, stage 2, you can take your hands back behind you. Stage 3, you might crawl your hands back a little bit more and then lift your knees off the ground so that your feet stay on the ground. And again, you'll feel a pretty deep stretch come to the top of your feet. Ooh, I got a message. All right, drop your knees down. Oh man, feels good. One last pose before we take it into just a quick little shavasana. Come on to your seat. Once you come onto your seat, bring the soles of your feet together and let your knees just kind of land wherever they go. If you find that your low back rounds a lot, take your blanket, your folded blanket, and sit on your blanket. What that does is it'll lift your hips up and that'll give you a little bit more length out of your low back. I just enjoy doing that in general. I think it's really comfy. So with the soles of your feet together, take your hands on top of your knees. We'll do just a little bit of PNF here. So press your hands into your inner knees and at the same time, let your knees press back. And it's your choice how much you want it, 10, 20, 30, 80% of pressure, but you're just pushing hands into knees, knees into hands. Make sure you're not shrugging your shoulders towards your ears. Drop your shoulders out of your ears. Take a deep breath. And then relax your knees. Let your hands press into your knees. Press your knees down towards the ground. And we'll do another round just like that. So again, press your knees into your hands into your knees. Keep your shoulders out of your ears. Whew. Keep doing it, keep doing it. Again, it doesn't matter the percentage. Just keep that pressure. We're doing it for 3, 2, 1, release the pressure of the knees into hands. Press your hands into your knees, though. Press your knees down. You might find that there's a little bit more mobility there. All right, bring your torso upright. You can always take your hands behind you, especially if that feels like some good extra support. If you have pretty open hips and you want to take it into a forward fold, you are more than welcome to take it into the forward fold. Just about 30 seconds here, not a ton of time, but this should feel pretty good, especially if you're just coming off of your sport, your run, your cycle, or you're just feeling in general tight in your tissues. And place your hands down. Go ahead, bring your torso upright. Hands to your outer knees. Guide your knees together. Come off of your blanket. Here's what you can do to finish out. So you can open up your blanket and then make just kind of a nice big loose roll of the blanket. From there, knees, back of the knees right onto the blanket. Go ahead and lie down. Final pose today, Shavasana. Once you come down, let your arms open up wide, let your feet flop open. Of course, if this doesn't feel comfortable, you're always welcome to remove the blanket and just lie flat on the ground. Utilize the next couple of breaths, the next couple of minutes, and just allow your body a full surrender. This is really good for your nervous system. This kind of steady release, especially if you have just come from your run or your biking. Allowing your body to fully rest is so good for your nervous system. And friends, I'll leave you here If you have the time to stay, to linger, I would encourage it. Thank you so much for joining me. As always, it's a pleasure to guide you, be here with you on your journey to yoga, to flexibility, to everything health and wellness. From my heart to yours, namaste.